Hello, my subject is soil. Soil here at the Camp Ranch campus of Frank School. It's part of my state of the school, and I'm going on with it. Two terms that I was looking for yesterday and couldn't get was regenerative agriculture and carbon sequestration. You'll see them if you look. You'll see them in the news a lot, and they pertain absolutely to what I'm doing here because what I'm doing is ultimately fossil fuel free. Now, you don't see that much because it seems like such an impossibility. There's a term for it. Outside the Overton window, you just can't, it's unthinkable now, fossil fuel free anything. But fossil fuel free farming, but that's the way it was always done before about 150 years ago. So anyway, I wanted to mention that. I'm going to mention some things quickly. Uh, the soil around here in Dutch Corner is being farmed in a very modern way now. I mean, they're putting the nitrogen into that soil and they're fertilizer, and they're spraying it when necessary, and they're keeping cover crops on it, and they're no-tilling almost everything. Not the Amish, but the other farmers around here, and it's something to see. I mean, what tremendous growth can result from that. Even Dutch Corner in general doesn't have the fine farmland that right over the mountain in Morrison's Cove is there. So I all the time I see this basically monolithic cultivation of fields with tremendous crops. Now last year the drought was the catch because they can't be putting water on it, and when there's not water, it doesn't matter how much of the other stuff you've got on there. So anyway, I wanted to mention that what I'm doing. This looks like the jungle here, or worse, compared to the. So as soon as you go over the hill, everything is manicured and mowed up, but it's all about fossil fuels. You take the fossil fuels away, that's gone. That stuff. All right, I wanted to say that Gabe Brown certainly deserves mention. Gabe Brown, as an advocate of regenerative farming. Now he's into the big machinery, the big stuff, but nonetheless, he's on to good ideas. I mean, he's the guy to find and listen to. He's easy to listen to too. So I mentioned, and I did mention Peter Andrews. I should probably give you some kind of a link to him. He's the Australian, and from him and his talking, I learned a lot about what was going on down there under the soil. But most of that I learned from the hidden half of nature, which I already talked about. Trump's tariffs. I really tried to prevent Trump from being elected. I did everything I could. But now that he is elected, him starting up a trade war that we're bound to lose. I mean, it's going to be fascinating. But his tariffs, they hit farmers hard. And it was obvious that they were going to do that. And when he did it the last time, he ended giving farmers all kinds of subsidies to keep them from going under because of the tariffs that he had applied to foreign goods and and the retaliation, and that's going to be even more so. So I wanted to mention that. In the last year, especially a couple years, I've learned about chinampas. Chinampas. They don't exactly apply here because that has to be level ground, but that soil is called sometimes the most fertile soil in the world, and it's what is now Mexico City was originally covered with chinampas, where they were sort of floating or seemingly floating islands in among waterways. Another version of that, which I this year learned about, is the waru waru. or Waru, W-A-R-U, new word, W-A-R-U, in Bolivia. It's the same thing. It's that mixture of soil and water. Uh, Now, I had said that I'm glad that this soil is so bad because I couldn't be making these experiments that I'm doing if I had really good soil. People would be horrified. Well, I'd be up to my ears in debt, and I'd have to be trying to pay the debt off, and the taxes would be high. This land, basically, for farming is worthless, uh, and so it's perfect for my experimenting with the soil. My cousin, who owns half of my well, she and her husband own more than half of my grandfather's former 600 acres. She let her land go wild. Just the term rewilding. That's another term that you're liable to run into if you haven't already. Rewilding, rewilding. Just let it go. She didn't plant things there as part of the process of rewilding. She just let it go. Hayfields, one small former farm, and I'll talk about the vegetation and what happened as a result of that. Now, some people might say, well, I did even worse if they would just drive by and take a look at this. Because what's growing on it, again, I'll talk about that later, is lush, but it would be, in most people's eyes, weeds. But I'll talk about that later. I can only go through so much of this right now. Terms from the hidden half of nature: rhizosphere, the realm around the roots. I learned that. Exudates, those roots, they give off substances that I should mention. There's the miners and the truckers, is their term for the bacteria and other microbes that are working on those rocks, bringing the minerals to the plants. Those are just terms that you would run into. I think finally here. Now I better not. I better end this and save another day for finishing out these things. So, bye for now.